Hey there, I'm Kevin Mendenhall with Great Canyon Architecture, and today we're going to do kind of a cool project. We're going to build our own custom windows. For years I've been using some Pella families that I downloaded. I had nested a header and some trim into the family, and they worked fine, but over the years they just kind of got a little cluttered and kind of out of control, so I decided to start from the beginning and create some nice clean families and families that belong to me. So that's what I did this week, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So these window families that we're going to build have the same thing. They have a header in them that you can turn on and off. You can change the header out just by clicking on a drop-down list that has some predefined header sizes in it. And then we're also going to nest some trim, and that's fully parametric as well, so you can adjust the material, the dimensions of the trim. It can be wood or stucco or whatever you need it to be. Another thing that we have a lot of trouble with sometimes in Revit is material, and getting material to go in the right direction. Sometimes you have to duplicate a material and have one running vertically while you have another running horizontally. And in our family that we build here today, the trim is going to have the material going in the right direction. No need in having duplicate materials. You assign one material and the grain or whatever will run in the correct direction, meaning that it's running the length of the board. So another thing that I've had issues with over the years was trying to figure out a way that I could just toggle on and off the text tempered for when we have a window that's tempered. So you could just select that and select the checkbox or drop down list and select tempered, and that way it would schedule that tempered field in the window schedule, and has always been a huge hassle. At one point I had to create a whole different family that just said tempered. That way it would display correctly. But I finally figured out how to link that text to a checkbox, so I can just check that and it will schedule that. So we're going to show you that too. That'll be one of the last things we do. I'm sure there are those of you out there that don't really want to build the family. You just want the family. So I'm going to make these available on greatcanyon.com, and I'll place the link to these in the description of the video. And as always, if you find the videos helpful, I'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe. I got a lot of good stuff coming up in the future here, and we have a lot of work to do on these windows. So let's get into Revit and we'll start building them. So a little overview of our window. There's 4 parts of this window. The panels are one part. The trim is another part, a separate family. The track, or the window frame, is a sweep that's inside of the window opening itself, and that's just a profile that's swept around the opening. And then our header is a separate family in itself. So we're going to build all those families independently with a generic model, mainly generic model templates to start with, and then we will assemble them all into this window and tie it all together so everything works together. So the very first thing we're going to do is make our window panels. So here's our panel, what it looks like all by itself. If we go to our front view, you'll see all the parameters that I've built into this family. For those of you who are brand new to building families, everything works off of reference plane. So we create our reference planes, and then we dimension to those, and then we bind the geometry. In our case, we have these are extrusions. The glass and the frame are both extrusions. So then we lock those extrusions to the reference planes, and then everything is flexed or controlled by these dimensions. Every single one of them has a purpose. One of the things that has always kind of driven me crazy about most window families is they refer to the sill height. And anybody who's been in the trades knows that we always refer to the head height as the height to reference when we're talking about window heights, or more commonly referred to as header height, as I have it labeled here. So I'll show you how I built this entire family, and we're going to start by going to File, New, Family. We're going to go English Imperial, and to the bottom, sorry, not to the bottom, generic model is what we're looking for. And we're going to click Open. So keep in mind when you're building a family, especially in the generic model family template that we're using here, it's oriented just like a Revit drawing is. So as we're looking at it, we're looking from the top down. This would be the back, front over here, right and left. So in our window, we want to be looking at the top down of the window panel. So if we go to the front, this is going to be the elevation of our window here. It's important to know this so that you can get your bearings. Very important to know the orientation that you need to draw things. So I'm going to start by drawing the skeleton, as it's called. These reference planes are referred to as the skeleton of the family. I'm going to hit RP on my keyboard for reference plane, and that's going to allow me to just start placing these, and I'm just going to draw them rough, just trying to get the basic shape at this point. Another thing to note is that this reference plane that comes in the family is the center of your elevation, both right and left. So this one is what everything is going to come off of. We're going to refer to that. We're also going to make another one at our center. We want this to be the center of our window. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to change the reference to center elevation, and that's telling Revit that's going to be the center of our family that we're building. Now I'm going to place my dimensions. I'm going to hit DI on the keyboard for dimension, and first I'm going to place my dimension that will be my header. Place my frame width dimensions. Going to place my panel width, and with the panel width I want this to be equal on both sides. So I'm going to place a dimension, and I'm going to hit this little equal sign right there, so it's going to push them out to where they need to be. And we're going to do the same thing for the height. Just like that. So now I want to start making our parameters. So I'm going to select this dimension. I'm going to click up here where it says create parameter. I'm going to call this frame width. It's going to be a type parameter, and we're going to group it under dimensions, and we're just going to click OK. So now we have 3 more that are going to be those also. So we're just going to drop that down, select frame width, going to select this dimension. This is going to be our header height, so I'm going to call that header height. Again, type, and under dimensions, our width, we're going to call this panel width. Again, select that. Same again, and one more time, our panel height, and okay. So now we're going to go to our reference level, and we're going to do something similar. And as well, you can see some of the reference planes that we just placed in our front view. We can see them from the top down as well. Again, RP for reference plane, and I'm going to create 2 more. This will be similar to what we did on the front. So that's going to be our panel depth. We're going to make it equal from the center. And our center reference plane here is fixed. It's pinned, and this is what everything is coming off of from our plan view down. So this will not move, the other 2 will. So we're going to select our dimension. Again, this is going to be panel depth, type again, leave it under dimensions, and OK. We're going to switch back to our front view, and we're going to start creating our geometry now. So we're going to go to create extrusion, and just going to select our rectangle tool. We're going to draw 2 of these, and then we're going to align and lock them. So we're going to go AL on the keyboard and lock every one of those. Okay. So this being our frame, we're going to hit our check mark here, and we're going to go to our top view, our reference level, and now we're going to align this to our panel depth. So AL, lock that there, lock that there. And I just realized that I forgot the reference planes for the glass, so I'm going to hit RP again on the keyboard, and we're going to put those 2 in, and the same thing, DI for dimension, and we're going to make that equal. Whoops, sometimes hard to see when they start getting smaller like this. There it is there. And then the overall dimension. We're going to select that, and glass depth. Whoops. Spell it right. There we go. You go back to the front, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to go create an extrusion, draw a square, hit DI on the keyboard. We're going to align this to the inside. Whoops. Align this to the inside reference plane. Just like that. Alright, so there's our geometry. We need to go to our reference level and lock those to our reference planes. So we're going to go align, align again. All right. Now our geometry is in place, so we're going to, so we want to make our geometry, the material, controllable. When we load this into our other families, we want to be able to control the material. So we're going to go over here to material on the left side of your screen. We're going to click this little associate family parameter button. We're going to select new parameter. We're just going to call this frame material. Okay, it's going to be a type. Okay, then we're going to select our glass and same thing. I'm going to call this one glass material. Okay, and okay. Now we'll go to the front and we're going to set our parameters. So we want our frame to be 1.5 inches. Inch and a half. Glass depth is going to be 1/4. Our header height is going to be 8 feet. Our panel depth is going to be 3/4. And panel height, we're just going to call it 3 foot and 3 feet. And okay. And there you have it. As you can see, everything is flexed. This is how you test to make sure everything is working. So you just change your parameters and it will flex the geometry. And if we go here to our 3D view, then you can see our panel. So this now is ready to be loaded into our next family that we build. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. One more time, if you'd like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.